So hello from very high-tech, futuristic-looking Cathay Pacific Business Class, guys. I'm making this little clip before the actual video just for a few things. Firstly, I want to thank you all so much for the incredibly positive feedback I've been getting on Economy Week, and it really just validates that my 5 days of non-stop flying really paid off and really had a good result, so that makes me super happy. But I need to be realistic and honest with you guys. My past Economy Week, all those Emirates flights with one night in a hotel, which was all I spent, cost me 1,300 euros or over $1,500, which is insane and just completely unsustainable. But realistically, if I'm going to take 2 or more flights on each airline and spend a decent amount of time on board, that's how much it's going to cost. And maybe I'll make $500-600 off it, but it's a big loss, and especially now that I'm a college student, it's not really something I can do so regularly. Some aviation influencers are now taking 2 minutes in the middle of their video just for an ad interruption for a brand that is not really even related to aircraft or travel, and it's just quite random, and I definitely don't want to do that to you guys. So there need to be other ways that I can sustain Economy Week besides maybe getting a little bit of help from brands that I love and showing you products that I genuinely enjoy if I can manage to work that out. But then the second thing is that I've just set up a Patreon. Now, if you don't know what a Patreon is, it's basically a website where you can support your favorite creators with a few dollars per video or per month. So basically how I set my Patreon up is that for each Economy Week, which usually, or in this case, was 4 videos, the Emirates, Etihad, and Qatar reviews, plus the comparison, that would be 1 Economy Week, and that would be 1 donation. So for each entire Economy Week, you can choose if you'd want to donate just a few dollars. Of course you don't have to, and I really appreciate your thumbs up and comments and all the support. But if there's anything you can do to help out, or if you appreciate the advice and think you could take advantage of it for a future flight, just a couple of dollars would really make a big difference in helping me sustain this and helping me do it every month. If you want to check out the link below, there's much more information there, and you can read about how I'm setting this up, what the different rewards will be, because there's plenty of rewards at different donation tiers. Oh, and one last thing, if you do live in Sweden and you have not signed up to my free mailing list, because there you'll get all the tips and tricks of how I managed to fly business class for so cheap. Even if you live in other countries, sign up, because I'm setting up the mailing list for other places, including the US and the rest of Europe. I just want to mention that although I do fly first in business class a lot, it really is using miles and points. Like next month, I'm going to Singapore back and forth for 140,000 miles, and I paid about $150. So that's 1/10 of what I paid for these economy class flights. So now let the video roll. Thanks so much, and check out my Patreon. I really appreciate it. Take care. Enjoy the video. Hello you guys, it's been way too long. It's great to see you all, even though I don't technically see you. It's great to have you here. I'm really going to try to continue as often as possible with this series about how I afford to fly so often and how I afford to fly in luxury, because I am at college. This is my college dorm. I don't live an extravagant life except when I fly. So today we're talking about Cathay Pacific Business Class, which is one of the best seats and overall airline business class experiences you can have. I paid 42,500 Alaska Airlines miles plus $75 for the 13-hour flight from Hong Kong to Manchester, which is such an incredible value. What are the options? Just as in my last video, I'm going to divide this into people who live in the US and people who live elsewhere. I want to preface by saying that I have a mailing list, so if you haven't subscribed to that yet, make sure you check it out, because if you live in Sweden especially, I send out a free guide as soon as you subscribe, and every few days you'll get my personal insights on credit cards in Sweden and things like that. Check that out down below. It's free, and you can get some great insights that I don't share anywhere else. Firstly, what about Cathay Pacific's mileage program? Well, it's called Asia Miles, and it is decent for some values, but you really need to be flying far. So if you want to take just one flight like I did from Hong Kong to the UK, it is probably not the cheapest option. So as I said, I redeemed miles through Alaska Airlines, which is really one of the best frequent flyer programs in the world nowadays. Then they have some fantastic redemptions. So for example, you can fly from the US to Asia for, let me check, it's something like 70,000 miles one way in first class. I'm going to put it right here. And you can also fly from Hong Kong to Europe for 70,000 miles one way in first class, which is fantastic compared to United and some of the other big carriers. But the real sweet spot is for redeeming on Cathay Pacific Business Class from Hong Kong to Europe or vice versa. And unfortunately you can't add a connecting leg, which you usually can with Alaska, but in this case you just have to fly to Hong Kong. But to me it's still a great value. So how do you collect Alaska Airlines miles? Well, there are a few different ways. Firstly, Alaska Airlines has a fantastic credit card if you live in the US. The sign-up bonus is currently 30,000 miles after you spend just $1,000 in 90 days, so it's super easy to get. Plus you get a companion fare, which means you get 2 revenue tickets, so 2 booking tickets for the price of 1. And it's relatively easy to be approved for, and even if you can't get the bigger card, they sometimes give you a lower version where you can get 5 or 10,000 miles as a sign-up bonus, but you can still get an annual credit and things like that. Another great strategy for collecting Alaska Airlines miles is transferring them from SPG. If you have heard of SPG, you probably know it as the hotel chain organization. So they have 2 co-branded credit cards with American Express, the SPG personal card and the SPG business card, and both these points can be transferred to Alaska. And the great thing about SPG is that for every 20,000 points you transfer, you get a 5,000 point bonus. So technically for your spend, you're always getting a 25% bonus on whatever you're earning, assuming you transfer enough. So never transfer less than 20,000 points at a time to an airline from Starwood. Another great thing about this is that Starwood or SPG have the most transfer partners of any transferable points currency. So you can transfer them to I think around 24 airlines from all around the world. So I currently have the SPG business card. I used to have the personal one, but since it was my first credit card, I canceled it just to avoid paying the annual fee and a few things. But I've now decided to get the business version instead for a few reasons. So firstly, let me say this, that anyone can be approved for a business card, even if they don't have a business. You can be 18 years old, as long as you have some sort of income, whether you work somewhere, or whether you have a hobby. You can just say that you're a sole proprietorship, and American Express will almost guaranteed approve you for this card. Now the reason I have the business card instead of the personal card is because firstly, the business card does not have an impact on your credit score. So if you apply, it will not show up on your credit report. They will not see the account, which makes it easier to apply for more cards later on. You will also probably get a larger credit limit, which is always useful. Essentially, the sign-up bonus is about the same as the Alaska Airlines card, but the annual fee is waived the first year for the SPG card, and you get the chance to get elite status with SPG and some other great things. So check that card out below. I'd really encourage you to sign up for it for several reasons, including no foreign transaction fees, of course points on all your purchases, but since they're so versatile, it's one of the best cards you can use. If you don't live in the US, how can you earn Alaska Airlines miles, or how can you fly Cathay? I would actually say that Alaska Airlines probably isn't the way for you to redeem for Cathay Pacific flights if you do not live in the US, simply because it can be quite hard to earn those miles unless you're paying a lot for business and first class. Instead, the best way to fly Cathay Pacific business or first class, or any cabin for that matter, is by using British Airways Executive Club Avios. These points can be earned super easily and redeemed on a distance basis. So depending on how long the flight is that you want to redeem, it will require a different amount of points. So for example, you can take a approximately 6-hour flight in Cathay Pacific Business for 37,500 miles. In addition, you can get it even cheaper if you take a shorter flight. I'll link the award chart below, and then you can check out different ways of earning Avios through flying or through portals or through British Airways credit cards in your country. I know they have credit cards in a lot of countries, so that could be a way to earn with them. That was just some short tips and tricks on how to get to experience Cathay Pacific's great product. Of course, if there are any breaking deals, keep an eye on 1 Mile at a Time, where I blog, which is linked below, or my Twitter, which you can follow down there, and of course my mailing list. So there's so much more to see and so many more videos to come for you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate your thumbs up and your comments. And until I see you all next time, fly safe.